Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
You're welcome to Thank God It's Friday edition of Dominion Sport right here on Dominion Television. A good morning to you, wherever you're watching us from. I am Paul Abe Toluwanemi, and you know we talk sport on the go. And this wonderful morning, we'll be looking at the local front as Remo Stars got defeated yesterday away from home yet again. Also, we'll be looking at the updates coming up from FIFA and NFF ahead of the big game against the playoff right there for Nigeria against Gabon. Also, we'll be talking about the Premier League. The games are over the weekend. We'll be looking at the Conference League games that happened yesterday and also the Europa League games. All this and more on the show. And you definitely know I'm not alone in the studio. I have the man with unbiased analysis and undiluted report. They call him the official captain, but you can call him Samson Balogun. Good morning to you.
Well, top of the morning to you, Toluwanemi, and of course a very big, beautiful morning to our esteemed viewers out there. It's the Friday edition of the show, and most definitely there's a lot to unpack. As we always say, weekends are for actions, weekdays are for reactions, but most definitely before the actions commence, we definitely will bring you basic analysis and as regards where these games might likely tilt. And that's exactly why we are here. Unbiased analysis, undiluted reporters, that's all we'll give you on the show, and most definitely on Dominion Television. So sit back, fasten your seatbelt, relax. Let's take you through the world of sport.
All right. Let's take you through the world of sport this wonderful morning. And let's start off with the rescheduled fixtures game for yesterday between Bendel Insurance and Rivers United. Samson Balogun was able to dissect those analyses yesterday, and I think he predicted how the game would turn out, that Coach Finidi George would not want to lose, and the worst he can get out from that game would be a draw. Also, Kennedy Boboye, yet another draw for Bendel Insurance. It's not throwing out all 3 points. But in as much as you're getting draw, you must also get all 3 points going forward. Also, Nasarawa United defeated Remo Stars, another huge defeat for the defending champions, Remo Stars. Let's start off with the game for Kennedy Boboye's side, Bendel Insurance, and also Rivers United.
If you look at the current situation, and as we predicted yesterday, that Remo Stars are still struggling, and it was going to be a miracle if they got anything out from that particular game. And that was what happened. They slumped to yet another 2-1 defeat against Nasarawa United. I mean, that for me is, they are now in a very, very deadly and, serious situation, which might make or mar their whole season.
Agree.
Yeah, it's not like they started from the blocks. They actually drew their first game against Rivers United.
Yes, they did.
And we actually thought, because Rivers United were the runners-up on the log last season, so most definitely we would expect that to happen.
Kind of game, yeah.
But then after that, it's been a blend of lackluster performances, unseriousness on the part of the players,
the management.
laxity, management having their own crisis, the coach not being available. There's just too much, on the table for Remo Stars right now. Unfortunately, the coach has been rumored to have resigned, even though he debunked it, and it's just a challenge. You see, one of the things that would destroy a team is instability at the managerial level. So if you don't have stability in that area, then there will be crisis. I want to cite a very big instance, and that's about, I think, Karabag. They have had a coach for 17 years. Now, what does he bring to the table? That's stability. They trust him enough to handle the project, and he's been there for 17 good years. It's not like during that period it has all been rosy. There are times they come to the UEFA Champions League and then they lose scandalously to some of these teams. But then they kept faith in the coach. He has always come back with his team. They do well in their league, but then when they get to the UEFA Champions League, it's not like it has been consistent. But this season is becoming clearer and clearer. Until this particular season, nobody has really asked the question about how long has this coach been there. And that's the problem. The moment you start losing, that's when people will check the calendar and see how long you've been there, how long they think you still stay around or stick around to actually turn things around. And unfortunately, Daniel Ogumodere is in that situation right now. His credentials is not being questioned, even though last season nobody talked about it because they won the league. Right now, we are not talking about if he is qualified to be the head coach of the team. Sometimes you just fade away, whether you like it or not, as good as you are. It has happened to so many big coaches in the world. When Pep Guardiola felt he wasn't doing it right at Barcelona, he left. When he was at Bayern Munich, he felt, it's not going my way, he left. Jose Mourinho was at Inter Milan. He won the treble. And then he felt like this should be all. He left. He joined Real Madrid. At the point, he left. He was at Chelsea on 3 different occasions. He had to leave. So it's not a big deal if Daniel Ogumodere or Remo Stars decide to go their separate ways at this time. It's just normal. But then can he turn things around? I think he has the quality. But does he have the requisite, the materials to get it done? I don't really think so at this time. I think they lost too many players. And then they brought in players who are not really a part of the team yet. So if they are able to blend that, the crisis will be fostered. But then for Rivers United, against Bendel Insurance, we said it yesterday that the biggest results Rivers United will get against Bendel Insurance will be a draw. Bendel Insurance and a few other teams, I think Urudi City, this season they have turned to the masters of draws. If you check their games, I think they have had about
the last 4 games has been draws. Yes, the last 4 or 5
draws. Yeah, so definitely. It tells you that one thing they do is that they stay compact in defense. If we cannot score goals, we should not concede goals. That's the the current mentality at Bendel Insurance. But for Rivers United, they are goal scorers. They love to play free-flowing football. There's fluidity from midfield to attack, even from defense. Let me put it that way. But then, if you are playing against a team that operates a low block defense, they are not coming at you. It's not like they want to hit you on the counter. They just want to keep the ball for as long as they can, and then if they find a way into your box, fine, they shoot. If they cannot, they just dilly-dally around, and then that will be all. So that's the current situation. Unfortunately, Rivers United had to play Bendel Insurance at this time. It ended in a draw. But for both teams, they lost 2 points. That's how I see it. They gained 1 point, which might not is not actually not the best result.
It's not the best result, I
mean, people would love to see a really entertaining goal-scoring victory for either of the teams. But we had to see a boring draw from both teams, which is, for me, that's not football. It's anti-football, but, sometimes you just have to keep it tight at the back and remain steady.
All right, let's look at what the table is looking like right there in the NPFL after the scheduled game. Let's see where Bendel Insurance are at this point in time. There you have it. Nasarawa United are back on the log of the table, just for the meantime. Also, you look at Abia Warriors, you look at Ikorodu City, Warri Wolves, you look at Niger Tornadoes. Rivers United are 6th on the log of the table. But let's take a dive through Bendel Insurance at this point in time are 18 with 9 points. That is where that draw does not favor them. And also, look at Remo Stars now, they just have 2 more games to meet up to the match point played already, and they are just on 10 points. As some people go, let's talk about Remo Stars and Bendel Insurance at the log of the table quickly.
You see, it's a really, really sad state for for Bendel Insurance, including Kano Pillars. Barau, yes, you might say because they just promoted, their position is not really a disaster. But for Remo Stars, for Bendel Insurance, I mean, that's not the place to be at this time. Unfortunately, they are there. But then, if you look at, they are currently on 9 points, having played 11 games, right? If for any reason, before Remo Stars plays any of their next outstanding games, it means that if they win any game from now, they'll be on 12 points. Where does 12 points take you? Off the relegation zone. It takes you to maybe 16th or 15th on the log. So it's really going to be a really, really interesting one for them. If any of the teams who share the same points or goals with Bendel Insurance loses any game now, and Bendel gets at least a victory. It means that they move away from the relegation zone. So it's really tight on the log. I mean, just 1 point can actually make or mar the whole arrangement. All
right, let's move away from the log of the table. Let's look at the fixtures for the weekend in the NPFL. It's massive games already from Saturday to Sunday. I remember also we're talking about our darling Shooting Stars Football Club ahead of their clash away from home to Enugu Rangers. But let's talk about this first game. Katsina United are going to welcome Barau. There we just spoke about Barau sitting on the log of the table right there. But this is a big game for both teams from the north. Katsina United are going to welcome Barau FC.
Well, it's going to be a close call, a very tight encounter. They are used to the same altitude for training, so on match day, the environment will not be different for both teams. They know they are used to that environment. And for Katsina United, they have also had their fair share of struggles. Barau, obviously, look at where they are on the log. Katsina United, they got a draw the last time out, so they should be able to maintain that momentum and get a victory against Barau FC. Will they be able to do it? That depends on how much they need the result.
All right, let's look at Sunday's game quickly ahead of the game in the NPFL. There you have it. Abia Warriors is going to be a big game against the Yimba, and that's one game I'm sure our eyes are going to be focused on for the weekend. Also, Kano Pillars are going to welcome Bayelsa United. They need to pick up all 3 points much needed. Nasarawa United, who just defeated Remo Stars, will be flying high on the morale to see how they can defeat Kwara United. But remember, Kwara United also had to they defeated also Remo Stars. So both teams are boasting of so much confidence. Rangers International are going to welcome Shooting Stars. Warri Wolves against Ikorodu City. Wiki Tourist against Niger Tornadoes. Samson Balogun, let's start off with Abia Warriors against Eyimba. You look at where Abia Warriors are on the log of the table. They're second with 21 points. A win will take them ahead of Nasarawa United. Also, you look at Eyimba United, that's sitting 7th on the log of the table on 16 points.
Well, for Eyimba, they had a dip in form mid-season. I mean, it's really, it's better when your crisis comes early, so you know exactly how to tackle it. And for Eyimba, I think it was a good time for them to experience that. So, and, they are really bouncing back. You saw what they did in their last game, and they can actually maintain that momentum. But against Abia Warriors, second on the log, they were table toppers before that game yesterday. And we have always tipped them to be one of the most serious teams in the league. And, Coach Imama Amapakabo has done a very good job for Abia Warriors this season. I was really livid and, sad that they lost to Shooting Stars. I was thinking when they come to Ibadan, they were probably going to get at least 1 point. If they had gotten a point in Ibadan, you could imagine that they would have sealed that position on the log at this point. When you throw away points in, deadly situations, that's what you get. Unfortunately, that game against Shooting Stars was never going to be a walkover. It was not going to be a stroll in the park. They were playing against a big name in the league, and that was what they get. So against the Eyimba, it's going to be really dicey. Will the Eyimba be able to contain Abia Warriors and their explosive attackers? That's a big question. And I know that the coach will really set out to make sure that they contain them on both flanks. If you are able to stop Abia Warriors on the flank, then I think it's going to be a little bit easy.
For Kano Pillars, quickly, do you see them getting the results finally?
Unfortunately, no. One of the things that we have failed to talk about is that Kano Pillars are more or less like the team for the aged right now. If you look at the composition of that team, especially in the starting 11, you would see players who are above 30 or way above 30, or some who are actually in their 40s. Now, I will just mention a few of them. Ahmed Musa is a player in that team. He's almost 40. Abdullahi Shehu is also there, the right back. He's way beyond 30. He should be around 35 or 36, if I'm not mistaken. And you have Pele, Rabi Ali, who is well above 40. Pele should be around 44, 45 right now. And he's a starter in that team. You cannot match the energy of these young players. Look at what Shooting Stars put in their midfield. Kabiru Tijani is less than 25. I don't know. I mean,
Just
I don't want to say
official age,
but what I know is that he's less than 25. You see, Aziz should be 21 or thereabout. And then the only adult in that midfield is Ayoba Mejudi. I mean, that's a good blend of experience and youthfulness. But for Kano Pillars, the whole team, they are just way beyond that. And when you think about the energy running around, you cannot match up with the explosive energy of these players in midfield. So that's really a problem. I'm not taking away the place of experience. Right? Experience counts only when you have the energy. If you are no longer have the energy, experience is as good as nothing on the field of play. Unless you are in a position where you don't have to run, you don't have to undergo defensive duties. Just like maybe as a goalkeeper. It makes sense if you are old and you are still a goalkeeper, because the only thing that is left that is needed of you is your reflex actions in goal. So that for me, it works. That's where we have players, goalkeepers who actually had long careers.
Long span,
Gigi Buffon is one of them. Toldo was one of them. Fantastic goalkeeper, stayed late in his career. And there are so many other players like that. I think Pepe Reina to Victor Valdez at the point. You can talk about Peter Cech too. Edwin van der Sar of Manchester United of the time. They had a very long career. And in fact, some of them, as good as they were when they retired, people thought, oh, you could have actually had 2 or 3 more years of professional football. But then they felt like, well, it is time to go. Instead of, being a problem to the team or maybe be the weak link in the team, they decided to go. Peter Cech, Van der Sar, you would have, expected them to stay back. Even Jens Lehmann of Arsenal at the time. So, David Seaman. And these were goalkeepers who had long careers. But it doesn't work that way for a DM, a defensive midfielder, because your job is to cover every part of the field, especially when you are defending. As a playmaker on the field of play, a CM or someone who plays just behind the striker, your job is to always be everywhere. Once you have the ball, even if you are not defending, if someone else is doing the defending for you, you have to be in a strategic position to receive and then put the ball in the opposition half. So for me, you still have to run. So these are situations, of course, how do you play on the wings and say you don't want to run? I don't know how you want to operate. So it's a really difficult situation for Kano Pillars, because in those areas, they have players who are either old or past their glory days. So you have to, it's not just about the name. It's about what you can bring to the table. If they can actually rejig that team, bring fresh energy, fresh legs into the team, maybe by January. Only if it has not gotten beyond redemption at the time. But if they are able to rejig the team, I think they should still be able to get some things done. But against Bayelsa United, I don't see them getting a result. All
right, let's move away from the fixtures for this weekend in the MPFL. Let's talk about our darling Shooting Stars Football Club. I looked at the image today. I think it was a counter image. You look at the Rangers also. They dropped an image, fantastic image also. But when I saw this, I just had to even drop a comment and say your graphic designer deserves much praise, and this is fantastic. But aside from that, we can go on to talk about the media. We can go about to talk about team branding, but what we must talk about is how do you deliver 3 points on the field of play. Away from home, they must deliver right there at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium. And how do you look at this game? Quick one, let's look at the head-to-head. What has been like for these two teams right there in the last 5 games. There you have it, Samson Balogun. Both teams a little bit of struggle here and there. In the last 2 games for Rangers International, it's 2 draws. That's the boys down to the fact that their head coach also is still not, always on point or available. Fidelis Ilechukwu. Also, you look at Coach Nuri, the last game out, we talked about it on Monday, that there were some errors that he made in that game. But we hope that, I'm sure you're going to give us an update. Some players, are they fit now? The likes of Promise, is it fit, to play the game against, Enugu Rangers right there? Samson Balogun. Also, let's look at a quick one before the expert analyst gives us an update from there. You look at the last 5 games for these two teams. And also the head-to-head battle. Let's have the head-to-head battle. You look at how Shooting Stars have been able to defeat, this opposition and Rangers International right there. if we can't get that, okay, let's have this. Asante Balogun, you look at it, and it's the last time they played out was 5-1. Rangers International also against Shooting Stars 1-0. Shooting Stars against Rangers. It's been all in favor of Shooting Stars right there. For you, what's this game looking like for our darling Shooting Stars Football Club against Rangers International?
I think the last few games the two teams have played, I think it's in favor of Shooting Stars. The last time out at in Enugu, it was more or less of a game in favor of Shooting Star Sports Club of Ibadan, and you would really expect that Shooting can capitalize on that and get some things done. Now, having said that, sometimes it's not just only about history; it's about what you currently do and the current form. Can you translate your current form into victories against your opponent? I think it was. This year, Shooting Stars won against, they won against Rangers. And even in the first leg and second leg, last season, it was in favor of Shooting Stars. So going to the cathedrals to get a result should not be a problem for Shooting Stars, only if all the players are available. And who are the players I'm talking about? You will need a Promise Awosami on the right. I mean, he was injured in the last game, and one of the reasons this whole setup was really dismantled and disrupted by the coach. At that point, the moment he got injured, he panicked. He made what he would have called his best substitution at the time, which some of us would call a very wrong substitution. I mean, bringing in a striker for a winger at that time, and that winger really could not play on the flank. So it would have been a different ball game if he had settled for another winger on the bench. But unfortunately, he could not do that, and the subsequent substitutions really made the game worse. And that was when he removed Ismail Ayodele from the field of play. That was the only sharp winger left on the field. In fact, there was no comparison to him on the bench, but he had to be pulled off. Why the coach did it, I don't know. Probably he was tired or he was injured. We don't know. But then
there was no replacement.
The replacement is for me not worth it. But unfortunately, it happened like that. They got a 0-0 draw, 1-0 draw, and they could not really get all the 3 points they would have loved to get. Now, going to the game against Rangers International, they're also struggling. They have had issues. But if you check their last 5 games, they have had virtually the same result. They have won 2, they have lost 1, and they have drawn 2. That's the current statistics for these two teams. That's how it is for both of them. So they are on the same pedestal when it comes to the league as we speak. Will they be able to actually get a result? I think Shooting Stars should be able to get a result against Rangers. Why am I saying that? If you look at the teams Shooting Stars has had to contend with this season, with that of Rangers
International.
I think Shooting Stars have had to play against some of the biggest teams in the league compared to Rangers. But then every team in the league is a big team.
I agree.
Because they are not here to sell uniforms. They are not here to play. They are not here to count the stars or to count bridges. All they have come to do is to also get points off you, to win games. And you cannot really say, oh, this is a small team. And the only justification for this, and the only reason you will see that that claim is actually true, is how much points these teams are having on the log, and the difference between a team at the number 1 and that team at the 6th position. It could just be 3 points. So meaning that if you lose and someone wins, and then you are off the top of the table and someone else comes on board. So it's going to be a challenging encounter between these two. But they would need midfield creativity to pull it off. I mean, Shooting Stars. If they are able to maintain the current form of Kabir Tijani with Aziz Sublime in defensive midfield and that working and industrious as he is, and then there is a certain Ayobami Jr. who can always come in and do. I'm not taking away what Chukwudi did in the last game. He's a fantastic player, but it was obvious that he was much rusty because he had not been playing. Ayobami Jr. had always been the regular starter in the team. So if given more opportunity, Chukwudi is a fantastic player who had once done the colors of big teams in the league. So if given the responsibility to do better, he can do that. In fact, he got a goal in their last home game. So he's one kind of player that is really talented, cool-headed, and can pull things off in midfield. But obviously, Ayobami Jr. is the first choice playmaker in that team. And that once he's in the right frame of mind and in form, you would expect everything and anything from a player like that. So my prediction is that Shooting Stars gets a draw, 1-1 draw away from home.
All right, that's the update. I was just about asking for his prediction, but yes, dropped that already. 1-1 draw is what that game is going to hand out for Samson Balogun. What's your prediction? I want to go to the comment section on YouTube. Drop your predictions right here and let us know what you think ahead of this clash against Enugu Rangers for Shooting Stars. And also, you can also predict the games in the MPFL this week. Just drop your predictions in the comment section. Moving away from that, let's talk more stories making the round in the world of sport. And this is coming through from the camp of Plateau United. Official statement. Plateau United can confirm that 2 members of the team staff were involved in a road accident on Wednesday, November 5th, 2025, following the team's training section. They were traveling along the Faran Akada roundabout, where a trailer reportedly lost its brake and collided with their vehicle from the opposite direction, causing significant damage. Thankfully, there were no serious injuries. The duo sustained only minor bruises and pains and were immediately taken to the hospital, where they are now receiving medical attention. They have since then been discharged and they are getting more treatment. Our thoughts and prayers are with them as they continue to recover. Further update on the progress will be shared through the official media page of Plateau United. That's the update coming through from the camp of Plateau United. We hope for the very best, for the team and the staff members of that club. Let's move away from that to talking sport. There you have it on the screen. It's a beautiful game of football. We're going to expect nothing less than that for Samson Balogun. This is becoming more and more dicey. At this point in time, Nigerian Football Federation protests FIFA all South African referees for the World Cup playoff in Gabon. FIFA appointed an all-South African refereeing team led by Tom Mbogele for the Nigerian 2026 World Cup playoff first leg against Gabon on the 13th of November in Rabat, Morocco. The Nigerian Football Federation protested that the decision to FIFA and CAF, citing recent rivalries after Nigeria wins over South Africa in their comments from South Africa's Sport Minister Mackenzie, wishing for Nigeria's elimination. Fans and commentators voiced widespread concerns on social media about the potential impartiality issues through some praises from the referee's competence. Now, Samson Balogun, the central referee, Tom Mbogele, is from South Africa. Also, the assistant referee is also from South Africa, Grandview. The VAR, Zenith Akona, is also from South Africa. And also, even the referee assessor from Benin Republic is, it's, when I got the story yesterday, I just kept laughing, and I'm asking the question, what exactly is going on here? Don't we have other competent referees, that can handle this game ahead of Gabon? And why are we having this to contend with at this point in time?
Well, you see, it's really a situation that calls for caution. And most definitely you would realize the fact that the last group phase of the World Cup qualifier involved Nigeria, South Africa, Benin Republic, and some other countries. And the drama that happened in the last game of the tournament, Nigeria had to win 4 goals to nothing to stand a chance to even play in the playoff. And South Africa was one of the teams that really gave Nigeria a very tough time. I mean, they stood, just in Nigeria's way that you will not qualify for this tournament. Yes, that is normal because they were in the same group. Unfortunately, I think I want to consider this an oversight by FIFA. I want to consider it an oversight by CAF too.
Okay.
Because they are actively involved in all of this. CAF recommends referees for FIFA, and FIFA puts them, to work by giving them assignments. Now, South African referees for a game between Nigeria and Gabon looks to me like it's a deliberate attempt to sabotage Nigeria's efforts to qualify. And what do I mean by that? The rivalry between Nigeria and South Africa is intense. It's not just about football anymore. It's about 2 nations having beef against each other. And it's way beyond what they are seeing. And who, in his or her right senses, would sit and bring South African referees to referee a game between Nigeria and Gabon, even when South Africa almost crashed out of the just because Nigeria put them in a deadly situation. Now, the first, one of the things South Africa suffered in the qualification series was caused by Nigeria, because Nigeria wrote to FIFA that, look, these people fielded a player that has been suspended, that is ineligible. What you have to do is to take action. And what would that mean? Remove 3 points and 3 goals from what they have on ground, and then you don't have to give it to us, just remove it.
Yeah.
Leave us to do the rest. And Nigeria did really well by, making up to that.
Yeah,
and they were able to win some games and then put themselves in a situation where they at least qualified for the next phase of the tournament. Now, it is not yet uhuru for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Why did I say that? Because they will still have to play 2 different layers of qualifying series. Now, after playing against Gabon, they have 1 more game on the African level.
To either face the winner from Cameroon and Cape Verde.
So once that is done, they now promote to another level of qualification series. So
I'm sorry, DR Congo. Yes, DR Congo.
So
thank you.
it's not an easy ride. But how do you explain why South African referees will be the ones in charge of Nigeria's game, especially at this time?
Even when the sport minister of South Africa made a statement.
With that statement, and after that, the current CAF chairman, CAF president, is a Patrick Motsepe is South African. So for me, that's shady. That's shady, and someone really needs to call them to order. Whoever put that, did the posting and
there's still time to change.
Made the selection, I think should be questioned. But then there's still time to. In fact, a day to the game, if an alternative referee is close by, a day to the game, you can always make changes to refereeing in for a competition.
Now, quick one, Samson. I just want to ask a question. I don't know if it's sensible that if this does not have a change, can we go on with the game? That's the question.
You see, unfortunately, there is no choice. Now, why did I say that? If you boycott the game, it will be a walkover for Gabon. So it's either you play or you don't play. And when you play, you stand a chance of winning. When you don't play, there's no chance of winning. You have lost. So if CAF says we are not changing, if FIFA says we are not changing, you go on with the show. Whatever the situation is, the show must go on. That's the situation.
All right. We hope for the very best for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We're expecting an update for the list already to be out today. But just like you can see it on the screen, that's the fixture coming up ahead of that one. And we are hoping for the very best. The 13th of November is the playoff between Nigeria and Gabon. Now, let's move away from that story and let's take more updates in the world of sport this wonderful morning. There you have it on the screen. It's more updates coming through for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Ahead of that clash, we're hoping for the very best for them. But there you have it on the screen. More updates still coming up. Nigeria against Gabon. We have Cameroon against DR Congo. And the winner is going to face each other to get to the next stage of that one. I just want to ask Samson Balogun. People are talking about Victor Osimhen having to be the man to lead us to victory. Do you see, if you have to select, some players for the team, do you think that some certain players should be part of the team, ahead of this clash? And which player are you expecting to be on the list for the Super Eagles?
Well, I think the most important thing for the coach right now is to stick with the current crop of players he has on his table. Why did I say that? This is not really the time to start twisting and twitching and tweaking the team. It's just for you to just make sure that all these players are fit. They have to be match fit. It's not just about fitness. Are they fit to play a football game? And after that, are they in the right frame of mind? So that's one of the things. Those are the things the coach should be looking out for right now. And if you look at the current situation, some of our players are actually fit. Moses Simon is doing exceptionally well for Paris FC in France. We saw what Victor Osimhen did for Gala in their last game, scoring an hat-trick, being the man of the match in that game. Ademola Lookman got a goal, but then was cancelled for Atalanta in their last 2 games, even though they eventually won. So we have attackers who are doing really well. Consistently. Yes, Lookman has not really scored too many goals this season. He's been struggling. But one thing is certain, when it comes to what he brings to the table, aside from scoring goals, creating chances, opening up defenses, he's been able to do that repeatedly for Atalanta this season. And for Moses Simon, in fact, shockingly, for Paris FC, Moses Simon has most times played as a number 9 for Paris FC this season, and he's scored a few goals.
He got the winning goal for them.
He scored a few goals for them. But when it comes to play for Nigeria, you have a Victor Osimhen, Tolu Arokodare, and unfortunately, Moses Simon will have to play on the flanks. So he should work on his creativity from the flanks. Don't just run. When you run purposefully, and then you try as much as possible to put the ball in the right situation, in the right position. Samuel Chukwueze was said to have been injured, might not be a part of the team, but if he's fit enough to be there, I think you would really love to have someone of his stature in that team. When he cuts in from the right, I mean, it's an amazing view, especially when it is in top form. So, well, all in all, he has to stick with the current set of players. Ako Adams, too, exceptional player in the last game, did really well. So I think the last team should still be repeated only if they are fit. And if they are not, maybe a few changes, for like changes. People who can actually come in and also make a difference.
All right, that's the update coming through from the camp of the Super Eagles. We hope for the very best for them, but we'll be giving you more updates as the show goes on, every day to let you know the situation report of the Super Eagles. Let's move away from that. Let's look at the fixtures over the weekend. Let's look at the results for Thursday's game in the Europa League, and also the standing, and also for the Conference League. There you have it on your screen. Yesterday was amazing. The Conference League, fantastic result right there, as some teams are getting the much needed 3 points. You look at Crystal Palace defeating AZ Alkmaar 3-1. Oliver Glasner is doing something fantastic with that side. Also, you look at AEK Athens getting a draw in that game. SK Rapid getting defeated away from home on their own turf. Let's look at the standings right there for the Conference League quickly because of our time. There you have it. Those are the teams standing on the log of the table. Right there, you have Rayo Vallecano still topping that one. Crystal Palace at 9th. Shakhtar Donetsk also 10. Let's move away from that. Let's look at the Europa League quickly. The result for yesterday's game, Basel against FC CB, getting that one 3-1. Lille lost away from home 1-0. Celta Vigo defeating Dynamo 3-0. Also, Celtic getting defeated by Midtjylland 3-1. Look at Porto getting a draw 1-1. Genk defeating Braga 4-3. Roma defeating Rangers 2-0. Lyon getting defeated by Ribetis. Fantastic goal, by Anthony 2-0. Let's look at the standing quickly ahead of that one. Midtjylland topping the table after 4 games played at their 12th of point. Freiburg, Ferencváros, Celta Vigo, Braga, Aston Villa, Lyon, and Victoria Pleasant. Nottingham Forest was supposed to pick up all 3 points, but Morgan Gibbs White lost the penalty kick. But there they are, also on the log of the table, right there, looking pretty not too good for them. 23 is where they are sitting on the log of the table. All right, let's move away from the Europa League and also the Conference League, and let's look at what is ahead of us at the Premier League this weekend. It's going to be feisty, it's going to be entertaining, it's going to be mouth-watering with goals. There you have it. Samson Balogun. Let's start off with the big game. Manchester City against Liverpool. We're going to have Arsenal against Sunderland. Let's start off with the big game, Manchester City against Liverpool. Liverpool are looking like a team who are getting rejuvenated, getting points back again for themselves after defeating Liverpool, and also their weekend game. There you have it. Manchester City also in good form. What's it looking like for Pep Guardiola and also Arne Slot?
Well, I think Liverpool are rejuvenated. They won their last 2 games. One against a stubborn Aston Villa, and eventually was able to win against the Real Madrid team in the UEFA Champions League. So that says a lot about how the coach has rebuilt the mentality of the players into being able to win games for the team. So for Manchester City, I think they have been what you call these guys kings this season. They started in such a way that you would not think by this time they will be second on the log. It was really rough for them. But look at what we have now. They are 1 point ahead of Liverpool. So it's a battle for the table toppers. Now it's a case of who wants it more. And you can bet it that Manchester City would want to make Liverpool pay for the mistakes they are making at the back, defensively. But Liverpool have a potent attack. They have quality players in attack and in midfield. So it's going to be a battle of midfield and attack. Whoever wants it more should be able to do justice to the game.
All right, whoever wants it more should do justice to the game. What do you think ahead of that game between Manchester City and Liverpool? Drop it in your comment section. Let's talk about Arsenal Sunderland. Granit Xhaka is going to be back at the Emirates Stadium, the former captain of the side. And also, let me just give an update. They just popped in Victor Gyökeres and Gabriel Martinelli out until international break. Arsenal hoping to get both backs for November 23rd. Martinelli is left out of the Brazilian squad. Noto Gyökeres undergoing further assessment on his muscular injury. That's the update coming through from the camp of Arsenal. But let's talk about how fantastic they have been this season. 0 goal conceded in the UEFA Champions League. Also, in last month, they did not concede any goal and they have won all games.
I think in the last 8 games, they have not conceded
goals. Let's talk about the game against Sunderland.
Well, it's going to be a very difficult one. Sunderland has proven to be one of the teams to fear in the league this season. It's no mistake that they have found themselves at that position on the log in the English Premier League. So they have, you know, sometimes you have teams who just promoted and then they would always put some teams through pressure and then give them issues. And Sunderland was one of them. You look at what happened against Chelsea, Garnacho getting a goal and Sunderland saying, look, we have to get all 3 points off you. And they did. So playing against a team like that will be a really difficult one. But as I said earlier, and I've always said so far this season, is that for Arsenal, one thing they have been able to do is that they are getting points off teams that gave them issues last season. And what are they trying to do? They have mastered the art of breaking down defenses without going through too much stress. So if you are not giving them if you are not giving them the opportunity to break through the center of your defense, they are probably going to use the dark arts, maybe set pieces and the likes. At least they must get a goal against you. And they have done that exceptionally well while being frugal at the back, not conceding goals. So for me, I think it should be a victory for Arsenal in that game, regardless of if Victor Gyökeres is around or is not. Victor Gyökeres is just an addition, a player that has just been added to the team. And I think there will be a perfect replacement for him in attack. But most importantly, the majority of the goals Arsenal has scored this season is not coming from the center of the attack. It's coming from the side and midfield. Declan Rice has done exceptionally well. Quality display in midfield. You know, a dominant performance for him against teams that you would expect Arsenal to struggle against, and it's been fantastic. So I see Arsenal winning against against Sunderland.
All right, let's talk about Tottenham Hotspur, Manchester United, and Chelsea against Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Well, if you look at Manchester United, Manchester United is a team you would dub the Robin Hood of the English Premier League. You know, they win against the big guns and then they throw it away against the smaller teams. And that's the level of consistency that we have always talked about, that if you can put it out there, just display character, be able to maintain a momentum, and you know, there is no limit to what you can achieve. And of course, playing against Spurs, who struggled against Chelsea, lost by 1-0. I mean, it's going to really be a deadly encounter. But I see Spurs giving Manchester United huge problems, especially on the counter, because you're going to have a Mohamed Kudus in that team, you know, and not go through stress when you are playing against them. So I see Tottenham Hotspur getting a result from that game. I don't know if it's going to be a victory or a draw, but at least Tottenham should walk away with something.
And for Chelsea, Wolverhampton quickly?
Well, it should be, ordinarily on paper, it should be a stroll in the park for Chelsea, being 7th on the log, on 17 points, and a struggling team with just 2 points so far this season. But do not forget that Victor Pereira has been sacked, that Wolverhampton Wanderers. He's got so wrong this season. They started on the wrong foot. In fact, they delayed too much to kick him out of the team.
Honestly, they even extended the contract.
They should have just kicked him out early enough, maybe after 5 games of the season, because it will be really difficult for any team, any coach, to turn this mess around anytime. They've got 28 games left in the EPL, 10 games played already. Will they be able to get all the points they need? Because if you are going to survive in the EPL and stay in the English Premier League, you must have gathered at least 35 points. That puts you in a safe space. But on 2 points, 10 games, that's 28 points thrown away in the space of 10 games. So it's going to be a really difficult one for them. But then, Chelsea, they have not been consistent. You know, they win today, another Robin Hood in the EPL. They win today, they draw or lose tomorrow. And, you know, there is the level with which they score goals and their fluid transition from midfield to attack has really dropped since the coach has decided to, I mean, the Cole Palmer's injury, and then the coach has decided to put Estival on the bench for reasons only he knows. But then, well, we shall see. Any coach that, after 10 games of the English Premier League season, you really do not know who your starting 11 are, you don't know who plays on the right this week, and then, see, it's a crisis. At Chelsea too. They're just managing and masquerading themselves as, having credentials to actually do well in the league this season. But behind all the mask, there's a crisis.
There's a crisis. All right, that's the update coming thick and faster in the Premier League match week 11. Drop your predictions. What do you think ahead of that game right there in the Premier League? Like I said, if you get 5 predictions correct this weekend, you go into some of 5,000 naira. All right, let's talk quickly and we'll wrap up the show with the WTA. Now, if you're wondering what the WTA is where we have these beautiful ladies playing the world of tennis, the best ranked 8 team, the best ranked 8 team, world number 1, world number 2, world number 3, they all come together to play this competition. There you have it, Arina Sabalenka against Anisimova. Yes, Amanda Anisimova. Also, we have Jessica Pegula against Arina Rybakina. Those are the game for today, and any of these wonderful athletes to get through the stage will get to the final of the singles WTA happening right there in Dubai. That's the updates coming through for this wonderful Friday morning. I want to say big thank you to everyone that stayed connected and locked in on the show across the world. I say big thank you to you. Also to the producer and the crew, I say thank you to you. Samson Balogun, was it for the weekend for you? How are you going to enjoy your weekend?
Well, it's going to be back-to-back English Premier League games. And that's enough to entertain you over the weekend, unless there's no one better to attend. But most definitely, intermittently, you have to see some games. At least that puts you in the right frame of mind.
Official captain for a reason.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. All right, guys, I say big thank you to you. I'm going to see you again on Monday, where we give you the reactions for the actions over the weekend. I am Paul Abe Toluwanimi. Thank you for staying connected. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Bye for now.